Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. Tonight, we have a tech talk on testing tools and frameworks by Emmanuel. Emmanuel, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Lekalia. Thank you for joining me today. I would like to start by thanking Seismic for sponsoring this tech talk. Today, we are going to be learning about testing tools and frameworks. This is our agenda for today. So the first question we ask is, why do we write tests? By writing tests, engineers can identify and address issues early on and minimize chances of error in production code. So now we're going to talk about testing tools, define testing tools, and also define testing frameworks. Testing tools are software designed to test a system or application. Various test tools are available for different types of tests, including unit testing and integration testing. Testing framework is a set of guidelines or rules used for creating and designing test cases. A framework is comprised of a combination of practices and tools that are designed to help QA professionals test more efficiently. Our testing tools are divided into different categories based on use. And for performance testing, we have a popular example of tool for performance testing is JMeter. A popular example for API testing is Postman, and CI/CD testing we have Jenkins. Here are more categories and with more examples. For automated testing, we have Appium, and for code quality testing, we have ESLint. But today we're going to be focusing more on testing frameworks. And for testing frameworks, we have linear automation testing, modular-based testing, library architecture testing, data-driven testing, keyword-driven testing, and hybrid testing. Sorry. So starting off with the linear automation testing. The linear automation testing, testers don't need to write code to create functions, and the steps are written in a sequential order. In this process, the tester records each step, such as navigation, user inputs, or checkpoints, and then plays the script back automatically to conduct the test. One advantage of this framework is no need to write custom code, so expertise in test automation is not necessary. Scripts developed using this framework aren't reusable, so that will be one disadvantage of this framework. So now we are going to talk about modular-based testing. Implementing the modular framework would require testers to divide the application into separate functions. Of each will be tested in isolation. A test script is created for each part, then combined to build large tests based on hierarchy. Similar to the modular testing, the library architecture testing is based on the modular framework, but has some additional benefits. Instead of dividing the application into various scripts that needs to run, similar tasks within the scripts are identified and later grouped by function. So the application is ultimately broken down by common objectives. The advantage of the architecture would lead to a high level of modularization, which makes test maintenance and scalability easier. One common disadvantage of all three mentioned frameworks is data is hard-coded into the test scripts. For the data-driven testing, in the data-driven testing framework, the test data is separated from the script logic, meaning testers can store data externally. Very frequently, testers find themselves in a situation where they need to test the same feature or function of an app multiple times with different sets of data. An advantage of this framework is tests can be executed with multiple data sets. You save more time because you run more tests, and multiple scenarios can be also tested quickly in this framework. Experienced testers are needed to set up this framework, so that can be said to be a disadvantage of using this framework. For the keyword-driven framework, each function of the application is laid out in a table with a series of instructions in consecutive order for each test that needs to run. In a similar fashion to the data-driven framework, the test data and script logic are separated, but this approach takes it a step further. With this approach, keywords are also stored in an external data table, making them independent from the automated testing tool being used to execute the test. Minimal scripting knowledge is needed in this framework. A single keyword can be used across multiple test scripts, so the code is reusable. Disadvantages of this framework are the initial cost of setting up the framework is high. Keywords can be a hassle to maintain when scaling a test operation. You would need to continue building out the repositories and keyword tables. So now we've gone through all of that, but these days we mostly practice the hybrid automation testing. A hybrid framework is a combination of any previous mentioned framework set up to leverage the advantages of some and mitigate the weaknesses of other. Every application is different, and so should the process used to test them. As more teams move to the Agile method, setting up a flexible framework for automated testing is crucial. A hybrid framework can be more easily adapted to get the best test results. So today we're still going to discuss an example for where these frameworks and tools can be used. So a company that makes an application that helps users find restaurants and give reviews on those restaurants have been having issues with their application where users have been complaining about incomplete functionalities and app keeps breaking. So they invited a seasoned software engineer, Joe, to help them mitigate these issues. So the problem statement is our mobile application experiences frequent crashes and performance issues, leading to a poor user experience and negative reviews on the App Store. Manual testing efforts are insufficient to uncover all potential defects and performance bottleneck, and the lack of a systemic approach to testing makes it challenging to identify and address these issues effectively. So before Joel provides any solution, there are some questions he needs to ask the testing team for the company. First of all, he asks them about their current testing process, the test coverage for their application, their strategy for regression testing, and their current system for automation testing. Then he can give good advice around the tools they need, a design, and some other opinions on how they can continue to maintain tests through the through changes that can be made on the application and when the application has been pushed to production. So for framework selection, it suggests choosing Appium as the testing framework for its cross-platform compatibility, support for native, hybrid, and mobile web applications, and integration with various programming language. Test case design is identify critical user flows and functionalities of the mobile application, such as login, navigation, and form submission. So those keywords can be put into a keyword table and can be used to run subsequent tests. For performance testing, using tools like JMeter to simulate various user loads and network conditions, and executes automated test suites on real devices or emulators across different platforms, because the application runs on iOS or Android. Then integrates with CI/CD pipelines to trigger automated tests with each code commit, and generates detailed test reports highlighting pass, fail, and performance metrics. Also, one thing to note here is during all this process, understanding the data of parts of the application that depends on API calls or external software is important, because you don't control those other softwares or those external data. So it might be good advice to mock these data partially during writing your test or implementing your test. So other advice you can give people having issues with testing is treat your test like a product. Don't repeat yourself when writing your test. Refactor your test regularly. And in conclusion, treat your test with the care and consideration you bring to the rest of your code base. Research and plan how to architect them. Consider your priorities and use your test to support your goals. Here are some resources I used in preparing this tech talk. And if you would like to contact me and continue speaking on testing, and this is my email, and you can also reach me on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me today for this tech talk.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that super informative tech talk on testing tools and frameworks. So yeah, thank you, and thanks everyone for coming today.